Hello there, and welcome to my little arty corner here on YouTube. I'm Angela Porter, and you're all most welcome to join me as I draw and create and do all kinds of things. Get on with it, because I'll talk forever about what inspires me and what I enjoy, but it's just lovely to share. Mainly, my main inspiration is to encourage other people to be creative through drawing, if necessary, that's my thing, and as a way to relax and to de-stress and just to find moments of peace and joy in the day, or contentment. That's what art does for me anyway, partly. So I made quite a few videos back, and there's always a description in the box below, or a link in the box below to the video where I saw how to make this. I'm not sure if I put my video of how I did it in, but I've got an accordion journal here that I've made that I am filling with all kinds of patterns and things to use for different things. Now then, the front cover is looking shiny and a bit bumpy. That's because I had a spark of inspiration this morning. Firstly, I can't remember who it was, but somebody left a comment saying use fixative on chalk pastel. And I've used fixatives in the past. The thoughts had escaped my mind because I didn't like them. And I tried Spectrafix, which is one that doesn't have any propellant in it, so it's not going to damage the atmosphere and nasty solvents and things. And that doesn't work very well. But I had a spark of inspiration, which was, oh, I wonder if I can seal it with gesso. Okay, I've got clear gesso. So I thought, oh, I wonder if I can do the same to the front, because this will get battered and bashed. So I did. I put clear gesso on and then realised, oops, it dulled the colours down and everything. But it was great because it didn't shift the white gel pen. Sorted, because that was my biggest concern, is things were going to be shifted and moved around. It didn't. And also, although the gold has been dulled a little bit, I'm fine with that. But I put a layer of gloss medium on the top. Gloss medium, I have the Ranger version of it. I think it's the Tim Holtz one, distress one, whichever, multi-medium gloss. So it's got a nice shiny finish to it. It is a bit wrinkly because it's wrinkled the paper underneath here, but if that's what happens, so be it. So this is the one that I was in a quandary about doing, but I used the gesso on it first, which did not shift any of the colours, and then the matte medium. My golds are a little bit duller, but hey ho, I can live with that. And the surface is now not matte medium, gloss medium, and shiny. Now there are lots of different gloss mediums you can get at very many different price points, from craft shops, art shops. The Ranger one is quite expensive for the amount you get. Sort of like, I got dragged into, you have to have this particular brand to go with these things, and you don't, because I can be a bit daft like that. But that is done. Now then, again, I can't remember who it was, but I will put a thank you to you in the description. Somebody suggested, why don't I create, because I said I want to put this in, but I want to do it so I can create page signatures, so I can put other pages inside here and have it loose so I can take it in and out to work on and so on. And somebody said, well, I was talking about putting some string or something around there. Why don't you use the fabric you used and create it like a traveller's notebook, which is what I've done. I've actually put 2 round here, and this will happily slip beneath it, like so. I've left quite a bit of give in these. I may have to undo the knots and tighten them at some point, but I have space for the other one next door. And all that I did to help with these stay where they are, I don't know if you can see, but can you see I rounded the corner when this was closed? So I've basically cut a notch in there, so these will sit in that notch rather than, they won't be so easy to slide off from side to side. So I now have these here. I think I might have to tighten them up, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I've actually been a bit patchy about adding the gloss medium. Not a problem, I can always add more. And what I've done here, this is a piece of Fabriano toned paper in think it's the grey, or clay it's called, clay. And this is lovely. It's something like 15% cotton, so it's really quite sturdy paper. It's not very heavy. It's £85. I'm not quite sure what that is in GSM, because, oh yeah, it's 120 GSM. Yeah, it is 15% copper. It's brilliant for dry media, but you can get away with a damp brush and a little bit of water on it. It will wrinkle, but it will go flat again, thanks to the cotton, I think. So I've got space here to play with these. If necessary, I can move this to a different section. Not a problem. And I haven't finished this one yet. I still haven't decided what to do, though. I was looking for some media to use today, and I did find a tin of graphite pencils in my stash. So I've got probably a complete set. Rather than draw on these, though I am tempted almost to fix one of these on here so it opens out as well. That could be fun. There's lots of ways of doing this. Honestly, I kid you not. Oh, and these dangly bits here, once I've got them to the right strength and everything, at some point I'm going to decorate these with some beads and dangles and things that will hang down the back. And I'm going to make them from paper and sort of like flat discs or beads, or whether they're round or square, something like that, that we'll draw some designs on. So there's some weight to hang them, that will hang them down, which would be quite fun. And I could take them off and actually string beads along these, I suppose, to make those quite nice. So, well, but that is a bridge to cross later on. Let's get on with some drawing, is it? Okay, so I've got just a pencil here. I am going to do my usual, where I'm going to draw a pencil border around here. This paper is a little bit smaller than the ones that I've just shown you, because it'll be going inside the other one. If it was the same size, they'd start poking out the ends, and I'm in danger of that outside the ends of the accordion folder. I'm in danger of that, which is why I need to tighten those up a little bit. So this will be good enough as it is. Okay, so I think I may draw some inspiration. Let me see, can I find these things? My problem is here, I need a big clear out. Being unwell and so busy, things have got a little bit piled up here again. I'm not very good at times. There's a reason for this that I may share one day, maybe not. But last night I went to Zentangle with Tracy Goff, I think it is, a CZT. I was invited along a while ago, and I go along because it's a nice way to sit, to draw with other people. I'm not a Zentangler precisely, though I do draw on Zentangle patterns from time to time. And we drew 2 tiles. One of them was this one. And yeah, it's typically me, because I sort of followed instructions, but you know, I go off on my own. And I coloured this with Pitt pastel pencil, just one shade. And I quite like that. I like the monochrome. That actually would look really nice on the clay, wouldn't it? See, I'm so tempted to put this in the middle now, cut it in half and put it in the middle on either side. So like a diptych, it's called. Not a triptych, a diptych, two pieces. That'll be quite fun. I'm not so precious about these that I'd not do it, but it does look really nice against that clay. Oh, that's really nice. And then there was this one, which I haven't finished adding the colour to again. I'm planning to do it monochrome with this olive green and Pitt pencil again with a tortillon. I'm finding I'm really, really, really enjoying using the Pitt pencils for this kind of thing. Much nicer for me, certainly, than graphite or anything else. I prefer these ones to the generals. I did have a set of the generals, but they were donated to somebody who really needed some things to help them. And I say donated, they were gifted to a friend who I'm encouraging to be a bit more creative, perhaps, maybe. And these are much nicer. I know everybody likes different things, but I prefer these ones. The generals tend to spread too far for me. These ones not so much. So I am quite tempted to draw some inspiration from these to a degree. So shout out to Tracy. I'll put a link to her in the description as well. And everybody's welcome. It's a Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. UK time for a couple of hours. And she doesn't charge because her mission in life is to share Zentangle and relaxation and how it can help you with so many things. Creativity, art therapy, as such. And so I'll leave her information so you can get in touch with her if you wish. Okay. And no doubt if she watches this, she'll tell me off, but that's fine. I'm a big girl. I've got my big girl pants on today, figuratively speaking. Okay, so I am going to do, in the corner here, this is an angular variation of the Tangle pattern Flux. We did Flux last night, but I wasn't going to do plain Flux. And if you've seen my my mandala yesterday, which is in the community section of YouTube and on my social media, you'll notice that it featured quite a few hearts. So doing heart-shaped leaves is really quite nice. I am using a 0.3 Unipin pen. These are made by Uniball, and I use them a lot. I use Pigma Microns. I use the Copic Multiliner SBs. I have fountain pens I like to use. I've got vintage coloured gel pens are fantastic. The Sarasa ones are amazing to draw with, and they're also waterproof. So I'm doing little groups of these, like leaves, and just allowing them to grow whatever direction they would like to. So that one's sort of like could do with a little bit of darkness there, and I'm just putting a bit of ink in the top bits there. Classic Flux is more, we get a piece of paper. The Flux that I tend to do is more of a teardrop shape. So instead of piling teardrop shapes together, I've taken the teardrop and just taken that little notch out at the top. It's a simple variation just to do little things like this. And I don't think it's the first time I did this last night. I think I've done this quite often with Flux, or variations on a theme. I think you say it's Flux, but I was drawing leaves like this long before I discovered Zentangle. Oops, there's one crept in that's an ordinary one. But that's okay, I can live with that. I'm going to just fill these little gaps in. This Fabriano paper has got a bit of a tooth to it. You can feel it, because it's designed to for you to layer up pencils and pastels and draw with pencils on without being able to get different intensities and so on. But it feels quite velvety, the paper does, but it does have a habit of wearing out my pens. So I guess it's akin to one of the very finest grades of sandpaper. So yesterday I didn't get a video done I had said I would, but unfortunately Monday night I had spent all day Monday getting all the work done for Whimsical Houses all done and dusted, and then the cover and back illustration for the next book after this. Inked in and coloured. I inked them in over the weekend, I think it was. But I spent a lot of time Monday, many hours. And at the end of it, I was both mentally exhausted and I was quite sore from working at the computer for quite a long while. Because I add colour digitally and I ink in digitally now as well. Simply because if there's any, I say simply because, there are plenty of reasons, but also the main one is it's easy to make changes and adjustments and to edit things digitally. And on paper, I'd have to redraw everything. Whereas if it's a small edit, if it's a small change, if something, a whole object can be removed quite easily and replaced or whatever, it's a lot easier to do digitally. But colouring, I do prefer to do digitally for them. I've got a huge palette, as it were. The colours in the digital palette, or possible colours, are, infinite. And the ability to use various tools and blending modes and textures and so on, and backgrounds, and I'm barely getting my head around it, no doubt. I do it my way. It may not be the prescribed way of doing things, but it works for me. And I may be making hard work of it at times, but it works for me. And I discover new things as I use it more and more, so that's quite good fun in its own way. I do like this one. Oh, this one goes out there. Do the bigger one there. So yesterday, when I went to bed Monday night, my mind was quite busy. I was tired. I fell asleep fairly quickly. But I woke up just before 4 o'clock in the morning, and my mind was racing. All kinds of rubbish. And I couldn't settle back to sleep at all. So what I've done in the past, and I haven't had to do this for a long time, was I just sat up in bed, put something warm on, because it was quite cool in the bedroom, and I drew. I picked up my sketchbook and I just drew for a while and listened to stuff, put documentaries on YouTube or whatever, and eventually managed to get back to sleep I didn't actually. I thought I did, but I didn't. I might have dozed off for half an hour or so, but it wasn't enough. So I was absolutely exhausted yesterday. And come lunchtime-ish, I could do nothing more than really nap. I'd spent some time doing a mandala. Even my monsters went out the window. I haven't done any monsters for a number of days now. My creepy cute monsters. And so I'd done a mandala full of hearts and so on. And mandalas for me are one of the most soothing, relaxing things I can do when I'm that exhausted and still very stiff. Most probably digital art wouldn't have been the best, but So I did all my social media posts and I ended up in bed sleeping. I just couldn't stay awake any longer. So I didn't fight it. I had a nap for a couple of hours, which was great. I woke up, I felt a lot better, more with it. I woke up in time to go to Zentangle with Tracy. And sadly, I didn't sleep much better last night because I managed all the stress and strain and, don't upset stomach. Either that or I'd eaten something that hadn't agreed with me. So I was up and down to the loo all night and feeling sick and shivery and so on. I just think it's a combination of lots of things at the moment that have just created a lot of stress in my body. And my body rebels, even when I don't. Because I often don't know when to stop and say, enough, Angela, you need to stop this now. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of stuff continuing to go on for a while. But again, it's nothing to worry about. It's likely to be quite a positive process, but there's going to be a lot of things that I discover about myself, hopefully. And that could be, it could be interesting, shall we say, as in may you live in interesting times. But I don't know yet, and I don't know how long it's going to take this particular journey to start proper, as it were. So until then, until I know what's happening, until I know how I'm going to react to things, I'll be trying to get back into the swing of producing videos, hopefully every other day or 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. Back to regular colouring templates for the page. I've got some projects to do. Somebody has asked if I would publish in fact, a couple of people have suggested that I publish or make my pattern book, you know, the little A5 book where I've got a store of my favourite patterns and motifs available for people. I have a problem with that because I don't think I could do Zentangle patterns because, you know, I could, I suppose, if I credited people and asked permission. And others, I don't know what artists they've come from, so I'd need to adapt them or the sources, but I'm sure I can do something about it. That's interesting. I think I'll need to go across here somewhere now. Let's get this over to the other corner. I quite want to do so many of these, but no. These Zentangle kinds of plants do tend to take over places. They have a mind of their own. So as well as that, and I do want to get a book of mandalas available for colouring. I've never done a book of mandalas. And my publishers don't want me to do a book of mandalas because they reckon there's too many of them out there. And I go, but they're not like mine. And they go, but there's too many of them out there. So, you know, what's a girl to do? It's self-publish, I guess. And just no big shakes. I've done it before. I did it with a book called Doodle Worlds. And which is full of my doodly creatures and critters and my combination of things. That's a very strange shape, but I think we'll be okay. I do think we're going to be okay. I think what I'm going to do then is I really enjoyed these ribbons of, I'll go back to this one. I really did enjoy these ribbons of Diva Dance and this crescent moon here. So perhaps I can fit some of that in. No, in doubt. Well, it's not a steal from somebody else. It's inspiration from somewhere else. So So I'm drawing my crescent moons backwards. And I have got here a pen that's got a thicker nib on it. For this one, if I was working on white paper, I'd leave a little circle here for a highlight, white highlight. But for this one, I'm going to fill it in black, and then I can use a white pen of some description to add the highlight. But by using a pen with a thicker nib, it makes it all broader. What I'm doing as well, and I will zoom in, I should have zoomed in sooner, I'm sorry. I'm leaving a gap with a dot in the middle of this, in the middle of each of these arches, except the outside one. So I've got, it looks like I've got a bit of a highlight there. You know, I could put some white dots in that section as well to give an extra bit of highlight when I finish this. So what I'm also going to do is I am going to use this thicker pen. This is a Tombow Fudenosuke pen, and I will write a description. I will list what materials I use in the descriptions box. If I forget to, please just drop me a comment and say, Angela, you didn't do that, because there's always a chance I will forget between now and actually editing the video and posting it and so on. My memory isn't always the best. And I don't mind being gently reminded or asked. I'm still trying to get my head around YouTube, and having had a hiatus for so long, between injuries and goodness knows what, it really did become quite difficult at times. I think I might just put another there we go. So the ink in this pen seems to be lighter than the other pen, so I'm just going over the top of it to put another layer of pigment in, and then I can add the finer lines here. That part will be, I'll come back and ink it in a moment. And if they are a bit wobbly, your lines, don't worry about it. Mine are going really wobbly. So I forget how to do, well, not forget, but it's no longer second nature. And it is taking me a little while to remember, oh, yes, of course I need to do that, or that's how you do this, or I must remember to include this. And on days when my mind's exhausted from too much stuff going on, of all kinds of things, then it can be even worse for me to remember such things. It's also overwhelming, even when it comes to adding tags on social media, you know, the hashtags for people can find my style of art or me, or others even. Then it can be difficult to remember those things, or even to know what to write to go with something. The words just don't come, which may surprise you given that I talk to myself for an hour or more in each video, mostly. But it can be a real struggle for me, even on good days, to describe my art or to say something about it. When it comes to writing it down and putting it out there. Actually, that looks interesting. I might need one more here. That might work. And then what I'm going to do, there we go. Snuck a bit of one in there. Sun It keeps coming out from behind the clouds today. It's rather lovely. So the plan for, what time is it now? Oh, it's 12:20, so I should be all right. So once the sun starts to go behind, to sink towards the west a bit more, because my weird skin doesn't like sunlight very much. Even though it's cloudy today, I've still got to find the factor 50 sun cream to put on my face. Don't mind going out for a walk and fresh air, so I'll have time. So even though I'm recording this midday my time, then I'll upload it for later. So I may not edit it straight away after this, which could also be another problem with remembering what I said. So, but I know you're all lovely, and you will. Gently nudge me if I've forgotten to do something I've said that you want me to do. I am going to draw this side in, these two sides in, because that will give me a nice clean edge for these to sit up against. I don't want to put, I might put another, sort of like border in, between the thin one here once I've finished adding these. But I'll see how I get on in a moment. So. I think that walk will do me good, given that my digestive system has been rather upset. I'm not sure what caused it. I did have a change in medication, but I feel it was, that would have affected me before last night, really. And I think it might have been something I'd eaten, or just stress, really. Time will tell. Time will surely tell. So I'm going to add another couple on this side, like so. And I don't like this shape here, so we'll add one more in there. And then we'll find something to fill the space between these together in some way. Okay. Still those in. We all have our favourite patterns and motifs to go, our go-to things that we really like and perhaps symbolise our style of art. Well, speak about us actually as people. It's not just about our style of art, but it's who we are as people. And I do love diva dance, but part of me is thinking I could do something else here. Shall I? Yeah. No, let's carry on with diva dance. I don't need my other pen. But I'm going to do a bit of a variation with this. So I'm starting with a nicely wobbly line, because that's what I do. And I'm going to just add an aura to that one, so I've got some clear space in between them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some tops of hearts, almost like the hearts are hidden behind this line, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that Diva Dance hump over the top of these hearts. So we're getting that heart shape being repeated here, and also it kind of echoes the roundness then of the crescent moon. And then I can add some little line weights, add some ink, make the ends of these lines that little bit thicker. Then I will just Diva Dance it like that. I'm going to do some more usual Diva Dance, or I'm at least going to put some ink in the dips of this line. Then I'm going to just aura again, no more hearts, like so. And then I think I may just add a couple more hearts on this repeat. So this is very much a me kind of thing to do, I suppose. I don't know. Again, I expect other people have done it. I'm not laying claim to anything. So I've got this one here. I am going to add some ink in that little bit, as I will just there. Add a little bit there. Some at the end. Some at the end there. And then I'm just going to add that. So I've now got a ribbon of Diva Dance here, with all these hearts and bits in, which makes me quite happy. Just tidy those up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another ribbon of them going in this direction. So again, I'm going to decide that this here is going to be the bottom. So I'll put the extra aura in, just so actually I've got kind of two auras up there. So let's have a look here and see if I can just add another one in. And that makes me happy because it's kind of symmetrical. You know, not symmetrical as in mirror, but you know, from side to side I've got the same number of lines around the outside edge and so on. And I can do the same kind of idea here with some heart shaped or lumps with hearts in, because they're cute. This works with all kinds of shapes. It's not just hearts. I'm just in the mood for hearts. I want to spread some love in the world. The world needs a lot of it at the moment, for lots of reasons. And I don't think anybody would disagree with me on that one, perhaps. But I'm not asking for a discussion. It's just a statement. And then I'll do another one. If I was to put these ones on every line, it would get very crowded and very dark. I don't want that. That's quite a big heart there, but I'm fine with that, but it's bigger than the others. It wouldn't need to go like that, really. And I'll leave that one as it is, or this end as it is. That'll be fine. And then I can add one more. Group of these. So add some ink in the bottoms where there are some. There's not been so many bottoms, you know, dips in the lines. I've drawn it as I did on the first one. I think it's because I didn't make it overly sinuous like the first one. So I could do with a third one because I'm not happy with just two. So I'll do that. This is going to be interesting. And do a second one there, like so. And then I'm going to draw the hearts coming out of these in the same direction as the others. So I want them pointing towards the door, generally in an up direction. A bit like so. I think once I get this set in place there, then let's have a look. Let's give some more ink there. We need a bit more there and there. In here just to feel like they connect. And so I'm going to add ink to the bottoms, but I think I might need to add some towards the top too, just to lift these up that little bit, perhaps. And preserve the sinuosity of the line. That's a good word. I don't even know if it is a word. Sinuous definitely is. Sinuosity. Could ask Google, but may not be a good idea on a YouTube video. Sounds like it should be a word. How sinuous something is. I'm not sure if sinuous refers to snake-like or a sine curve in maths, science, particular kind of curviness. The answer is I don't really know, but I'm going to do my best to remember and find out. That is for sure. Okay. So one more here. That'll bug me, you know that. I do love words. I love the origins of words as well, etymology. And every now and again I make connections between words that I go, oh, that is interesting. They've got the same start and yeah, connections happen, but it's at odd times. It's not always obvious. But I get there. So this will be the last little ripple there. So I've got 3, and I will zoom out because I've been closed in. I don't know if you saw that. So I'm looking here for some balance, and as much as it pains me, I am going to have to put some in here. But I think with this I may get away with slotting these in, as it were, like so. Let's fill that one in with black. Okay, add black there. And just one more. And then a double border around this. I did want to crisscross them, but I can't quite see how I can do that because I don't. If you look at this one, there's a lot of width between them. I don't have that width here, but I do have these spaces in between. And I will do something about that. Okay. Actually, not drawing that round. But what I'm doing is I'm just ordering inside these spaces. Just to give that edge between everything and to create a space here for something else, whether it's colour or pattern. Part of me wants to fill it in with black and create a starry sky. So we've got like windows on through to the universe. See, I've gone right off the edge up there, and I didn't want to put that line in, but it is what it is. So I think that could work because I think that would work. But I'm not going to do that on screen. What I'm going to do, hopefully, I'll keep that. Let me put those away. So what I have, because I was looking in looking, I did. And I found these in my stash. They're drawing pencils. And they have the most lovely, I don't know if you can see there, sort of vintagey, natural kinds of colours. They don't have colours on the back. They're by Derwent. And I know these will work nicely on this paper. And I do want to make use of some of these colours. I've got the green shadow. This pale cedar would be quite nice. And I think it would go perhaps with the olive earth. So I'll start with those and we'll see what, and I've got white of course for the highlights. So I'll have a look at those and see where I go with them and just see what happens. Now with these, I'm going to put my highlights where I want my highlights first. So I'll do just a cluster of these. I'm not going to do them all with you. Sorry, you're going to have to wait. Like so. And then I'm going to use the next colour, which actually isn't that dissimilar in some ways to the background colour. Perhaps I should have picked a slightly darker green here, but I think it'll be okay. Like so. I will put it over the white a little bit because we want them to blend. And then I'll use the white just to blend this out a bit. Put that highlight back in. And then actually, let me have a look at that colour. Let me just check. I've got this is that dark olive. And I've got this green shadow. Yeah. Not really dark enough. I'll try this one, which is a crag green. Well, that's even lighter. So I think I'll stick with the dark olive. It'll be fine. And it may be that this is the only one that I do use, and sort of like by using a different amount, actually that would work better perhaps. Blending it up into that lighter colour just to go back and blend. I'll put a little bit around the top here. Some down the side. It's that kind of blending I want. Could do with a pencil to blend with, and I don't think I've got one to hand. Nope, not here. Oh, hang on, do I? Nope, that's a charcoal white. Nope, don't seem to have, so I'm not sure where I've put those, but they will blend. So we try going from dark to light. That may be a more productive way of working. I can never remember the best way to do this. I don't do it often. I haven't used these for a long time. Let's have a look here then. There's the white. Ah, nice one. I'm saying nice one because the white will blend a lot onto, well, I can put a lot of white down on the paper where I haven't put any of the colour pencil. But less of it where the coloured pencil is. But I will come back and blend that just a little bit. Perhaps put some of this lighter colour over the top of the darker colour, because I think that will work. The one disadvantage of these is that I am going to be dimming down my pen lines, but I can either go back or draw over them or accept it for what it is. That actually works quite nicely, so that could be the way to go. Start dark. Perhaps put a layer of the dark a lot of the way up. Then the lighter shade, which I can blend over the top of the dark, just to tone the dark, lighten the darkness up a bit. And then add that white at the top, making sure there's plenty there, but that I just lighten that medium tone as well. That works for me. I'm getting smoother blends. And this is a dance back and forth between dark and light, dark, medium and light, until I get how I would like them to look. So that will be fine there. And I am tempted to keep this pretty much monochrome, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to use this darker green to put the shadows in quite intensely at the edge here. And then I'm very lightly going to add some dark going out, so I can add the medium tone over the top just to lighten it up. And then I can put the white right in the middle, which will work. So that actually looks quite nice. That'll work. That'll be fine. That'll be cool. Okay, so I'll do another one of these. The little beads seeds around the heart-shaped leaves. I think I'm going to add metallics to those, because I just think that some metallic would be good here. And I've got that, which looks great. And then just this one. So it's just a taste really of what we can do. Of course, this is how I do things, which isn't necessarily the sort of like wisdom or what people will tell you is the correct way to do things. But I do things in a way that works for me. And I think that is an important thing to work out when it comes to art and so on. Obviously, if you want to work in a particular style, then it's different. So that'll work nicely. For the diva dance, again, I think I'm going to do the darkest colour here. Now, bear in mind, I have got borders outside around these, so I don't want to put the shadows in that area, but I do want to get some shadows at the ends and some of this lighter colour going along. And those little hearts, I'm going to use metallics there. Most probably may use watercolours. I may dig out some of the Sakura starlights, which would be quite nice. Right in the middle then, I'm going to add that white to give me that lovely crisp white highlight there, which I think will work. And when I can find a blender pencil, I will use it on this. So that will look quite nice. And of course, this will be done the same way as this. These will all be done the same way. This middle bit is where I really think I want to put like windows through to the universe. Almost like you're lying underneath a strange kind of, garden with, you're in a garden or wilderness with plants growing out above you and you're looking through them. So let's do at least one of them, so I can get an idea of what it's going to look like. Not the best pens to use. I've got other ones that are a bit more flexible and bigger nib, but it'll work. Sure it will. As it dries, it'll become less patchy, I'm sure. That I think will work quite nicely now then. I should have here somewhere a white gel pen, and I do. This is it's a Gelly Roll medium. This is a really old one. What I'm going to do like so. And then I'm also going to put those highlights. And that will end up looking like these are perhaps little windows through to the universe. Which is fine, I could live with that actually. So that will work quite nicely. I like the black there with the little dots of white. I think that will work. Okay, and I do have, look at that. Not Sakura, I've got a Uniball Signo. A golden glitter pen. And I just think the gold will be really nice with these. Rather than white or green or the tiny little spaces, so getting a coloured pencil into those spaces would be awkward. And then I'll just do a string of hearts, just so we can see what that looks like. These. So they'll look almost like golden stars that perhaps have come down to Earth, even though the stars in the sky are white. But I could turn them gold. That wouldn't be a big problem. I just think this will be nice. It'll work. So there's a taste of how this is going to look. And I think it's going to work out just fine. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this little wedge in here. with black. There's nowhere else where I've got a little wedge I want to fill in black. But I think that'll work. Oh, the other thing I was going to do, wasn't it, was to... I'm beginning to wonder whether I should do a border around this in gold or not. I think I could end up having too much gold and not enough everything else. So this is in essence today's design. I try and zoom in for you, try and get it all on screen. With a thanks to Tracy, I think he's got off for her class last night. Oops, move it down. Come on, Angela, you can do it. There we go. Put it on the slant, it'll all fit on that way. Ish. There we go. And you can see the gold. And I just hope that you've enjoyed this and that you'll give it a go. So I look forward to seeing you again. Most probably not tomorrow. No, definitely not tomorrow because I'm out for brunch tomorrow. But Friday, hopefully. So until then, look after yourselves, take care, and find time to be creative. Bye for now.